Welcome back to Lightning Strides Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Lewis, and today we have a very special guest in the studio with us today. I've actually been helping him spar all weekend to gear up for his next big fight. He's a former Canadian super lightweight champion, IBO America's super lightweight champion. He boasts a professional record of 14 wins, only 2 losses. The one and only Marvellous Mark Smither. Mark, welcome to the show, my man.
How you doing? I appreciate it, Tony.
Good, brother. So, Mark, you fight out of Barrie, Ontario. You've really become a hometown hero there. You've headlined several successful events. What was it like building that kind of local support system?
It's been great. I started, it's been a community involvement. I was a bartender years ago. And I met a lot of people in the community when I was doing that. I was fighting as an amateur at that time. And it's just been great. You get a lot of people through the door. You're meeting a lot of people in the community. You're meeting business owners, people supporting your boxing. And it just kind of evolved from that. And then, basically the first show, East Bayfield Arena, fought for the Canadian title. And we haven't had a show like that in the city of Barrie, or anybody doing that in the city of Barrie in the boxing community. So that was super cool. So I'm kind of one of the only guys in Barrie doing it, and it just kind of evolved. And then after that, the support system was kind of skyrocketed through the roof.
So when you were younger and you're bartending on the night scene, did you find was it sometimes a challenging, tempting dynamic with working weekends, late nights?
100%.
It's really, the opposite of like a disciplined boxer's regimen. Did you find it hard sometimes, like a bit of a balance?
Absolutely. Yeah, there was always, temptations. Yeah. People asking to go out and party and do that. And you know what? There's time to have fun, and but at that time I was striving for bigger things and better things. Yeah. Especially in the amateur. At that time I was still competing in the Golden Gloves. We had Golden Gloves, provincials, nationals. Yeah. I was still competing at that, and my goal was to turn professional, right? Yeah. But I needed to build those relationships with people in the community, and I think that helped me huge with the bartending. And basically, yeah, like I said, business owners and people that just, started being like, oh, hey, you're a boxer, and you make conversations with people, and then, you find out their background, they find out your background, and next thing you know, they're coming to your fight, supporting you. And, it's all about, being nice and polite and respectful to people, and that's kind of what got me to where I was. Yeah. And then, yeah, like I said, East Bayfield Arena, you're announcing a Canadian title fight. I had some amazing sponsors as well, which were huge. At the time, I was working for my best friend at Cass Kitchens, and that was big as well when it got to, he knows a lot of people, and he was involved with the show, and it got to a dynamic where, now who's this guy? Who's this Mark Smither, right? Yeah. And and then you know what? You end up winning a Canadian title in your hometown, and that's even better, right?
Well, that brings me to my next question, because I came across one quote, one source that quoted you that you achieved a lifetime goal in 2022 when you won that Canadian Super Lightweight Championship. So can you describe that moment that belt was put around your waist?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. The first when I won the Canadian title, at the CAA Centre, I fought Paul Ispis. Okay. And that's when I won the first title, and that was it was an 8-rounder, and it was a lifetime dream of mine, because that was always the goal, and everything else was just bonus.
Was that a regional Canadian belt?
That was the NCC. Yeah.
Okay. Is it full Canadian though?
Full Canadian.
Okay.
Full Canadian title. Okay. They applied for it, and we got it. I think it was a little bit early. It was a little bit fast tracked, to be honest. But we re-secured it, and I defended it back in Barrie, and that was kind of the big deal there, right? So East Bayfield Arena, what did we get? 2,200 people in there in that small arena, packed, absolutely packed. The environment was incredible, and that was fighting for that Canadian title in the hometown. Winning it was amazing. That was the dream. But then fighting for it and representing my city was big too. I had the mayor there, right? Some big names, Gary Goodridge and a couple other people from the city of Barrie, and it was incredible. It was a big moment. Now, obviously, leading after that, moving into my career and fighting for a minor title in the IBO Americas, and then fighting Hellman for that Canadian title, I feel like that fight there was a big, massive Canadian title fight that was deserved and earned.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
When you get to the levels, right?
Yep.
But yeah, either way, that Canadian title.
And there was a rivalry there too.
And it was a rivalry there too. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So it was a big Canadian fight. And that was the deserving of that Canadian title and what it's worth, right? Which it should be, right? See, like I said, we discussed before, a lot of guys, fighting for Canadian titles and doing this, and opponents are just stepping in, or guys that shouldn't really be.
Yeah,
or,
no.
It's a weird fine line.
This was legit.
Yeah, this was legit, right? So it was good. And like I said, performing in front of my hometown, originally East Bayfield, and then back with the Saddlein Arena, it's been incredible.
Now, as of late 2024, you became the longest reigning Canadian super lightweight champion ever.
Yeah.
You held on the title for reportedly 966 days.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible achievement. So what do you think has been the key to that longevity and success?
You know what? Honestly, to my promoter as well, Tyler Buxton, he's helped me navigate, because there was navigation in Don as well back then. Don McDonald was there as well, right? So they both helped me navigate the right direction. And I think it's part of the team. It's my coaches and everybody together, that it's a whole, right? I'm not just, I'm the one fighting, but everybody's working behind the scenes to make things possible as well. And I think that's important. And yeah, like I said, the longevity is just, I have the title. So people are going to want this title. So what do I got to do? I got to train harder. I got to be better, and I got to keep improving. And that's kind of been the goal, right? Yeah.
Now, you have a unique balance, because you're a professional boxer, but you also have a full-time career as a project manager in the construction industry.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that demanding schedule, especially with training camps?
Yeah, it's tough. It was a little bit easier when I was working as a project manager for the company I did.
Oh yeah, I'm a little
before.
behind on that. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Right,
it was a little bit easier. Like I said, I was working for my best friend, Cass Kitchens. I was there for 5-6 years. And that was an amazing experience. I learned a lot, but I had a little bit of flexibility, where I was able to train when I wanted to and stuff like that. And I was a big part of the community. They were a big sponsor of mine. And they were always involved in my fight, so it was great for both relationships, right? But then the last fight I had in East Bayfield Arena in July, I opened up my own construction company. I parted ways. We still work hand in hand together. I'm doing interior renovations. They're putting in the kitchens for the interior renovations, right? So, but that was a big jump, and there was a lot going on, and it wasn't just training when you wanted to train and do that. And then had a daughter, family, my wife, people to take care of. And there just wasn't enough time, especially to train every single day for that last fight. So that was tough. And navigating from the project management scene, having a standard Monday to Friday job, and then running your own business was difficult. Right, so there was a lot of learning curves, and then obviously my last performance wasn't where I wanted it to be. Right, so that's when I got the second loss. Right, but since then, I've navigated, made the right choices, worked harder, and now we're here fighting Bradley Wilcox. Right,
and going back a little bit, you mentioned after. Was your first loss to Billy Allington, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
Let's go back on that one for a minute, because you said that was a bit of an eye opener, and it motivated you to train more seriously.
100%.
So how did that experience change your approach to the sport?
Yeah, so Billy Allington came to win. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts. And I didn't take the weight cut as serious as I should have, and I was on top, and I was undefeated, and you kind of get in your head a little bit, and everybody does it. I don't care what anybody says, everybody does it. Yeah. And you start slacking just a little bit, and it's not much. You're still training hard. Everybody's still training hard. But you're like, you know what? I'm training hard today. I'm going to skip that run. Right, I'm going to skip that 5K run, or I'm going to, tomorrow, in the morning, I'm going to skip and I'm going to make up for it later at night. But you never do. And skipping little tiny increments will make a big difference in the fight. And Billy Allington came to win that night, and it really showed me it was volume, tricks of the trade, just being, you know what I mean? Right?
I don't know what you
know
mean.
what you mean. You know what I mean, right? Just having that experience in the gym, and and sparring other pros, and just little things that he did that made me feel uncomfortable in the ring. And it was a big eye-opener for me, especially the training side of things, not taking the weight cut as serious. And, I knew I could push more, right?
Yeah.
And you think you can't, but then you can. And then you push another block and then another block, and you keep breaking, you know what I mean? New goals, right? So that loss was big for me, and I knew I could do better. And that's why after that fight, I just told Tyler, I said I wanted the biggest fight I could possibly get, you know what I mean? And I know I could do better than that, right? And it made me a better fighter. 100% it made me a better fighter.
Yeah, you learn more from a loss than a win sometimes.
Absolutely.
We were talking about that earlier too. Sometimes there's bad wins and good losses.
And good losses, you know what I mean? And that's gone through the entire amateur scene. You know that as well, right?
Yeah.
As an amateur, I got 100 amateur fights. 50-50, like, you know what I mean? 60-40, where it's I have a lot of wins, but I got a lot of losses.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's just, that's where those corrections in the amateur scene, that's why it's important in the amateur scene.
It's a learning grounds.
It's a learning ground, exactly, right? So, but then in the pros, you're gonna get that too, and nobody's perfect. Yeah, you see a lot of these, if you're exceptionally talented, you're exceptionally great, and you have the backing and you work hard, and it's the whole package, you might get guys that are the undefeated guys, but those are rare.
Or you're just sometimes the right place, the right time, the right region, with the right people backing you. You know what I mean? Also,
100%.
Afforded opportunities that others don't get, just because of your placement, where you are, where you're situated.
For sure. And you know what? Like you said, there's
it's regional.
Yeah, it's exactly. And there's lots of guys in this sport that are great. That
you're never gonna hear about coaches too.
Yeah, coaches too.
So many coaches that you never hear about that are just as good as your top world class trainers. 100%. You never hear about them.
Yeah.
Because they just don't have the right demographic to work with that brings out who they are. On August 26, 2024, I think I got this right if I scroll down deep enough. August 26, 2024 at 12:12 a.m.
12:12 a.m.
Okay.
12:12.
Yeah,
you did. That's good. That's good.
You and your wife.
I got 12 tattooed on me too, so that's good. Nice.
Yeah. You and your wife welcome your beautiful baby girl.
Yeah.
Is it Ada Maggie Smither?
Correct.
Okay. Into the world. So how has becoming a father, Mark, changed your perspective on boxing and your future goals?
We were talking about this earlier, right? Where we have responsibilities now, and that's you're not providing just for. Even being when it was just me and my wife, I knew I had my wife. She was working, I was working. We still, we didn't have a little one that was a full responsibility, right?
Yeah,
like I got to take care of this little girl, right? So, and I got to be the best role model as well, and that's the most important thing also. So you make smarter choices, better choices, and it just makes you a better person, like we were saying earlier, and makes me work harder. Right? When I don't want to go to the gym, I'm going to the gym. When I don't want to go to work in the morning, I'm going to work in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I have to not just provide for myself anymore, right? Sometimes, when it was just me and my wife, don't have to get up in the morning or do this or do that. But now it's, I'm up in the morning, this is what I'm doing, day schedule, right? I'm here at night and I'm spending time with my family, and that's kind of the most important thing. And then it's nice, you want to spend time with your family. I come here for, like I said, we do sparring here for a weekend, but I miss my daughter, you know what I mean, right? And I want to get home and to see her, right? So it's been a blessing. And it's made me a better person, and it's actually made me a better boxer. It's made me a better businessman. It's made me a better worker, and just striving for different goals. Right, 100%. I think you can relate to that too, right?
150%.
Right? Yeah.
Now, your most recent fight, again, you touched on it a bit earlier already, Mark, was a tough 10-round unanimous decision loss to Pedro Manuel Gomes. On July 19th. 2025 at Dees Bayfield Arena in Barrie. That was a difficult night, especially as you mentioned. I believe you mentioned it was likely your last professional bout.
It was possibly going to be.
In your hometown.
Yeah, that's kind of where
you said that back in the moment as it happened. That maybe it was going to be your last fight in your hometown. So how do you reflect on that evening now?
Yeah, it definitely is in my hometown. It was my last fight, and that's kind of the upsetting thing. Is you go out like that in your hometown. We're not going to have another show in Barrie. That was the last one, and it's kind of it makes you think a little bit. I didn't perform enough from my fans and the people that I wanted in Barrie, but I had great support afterwards, which was I was actually shocked at the support I had afterwards from the community. But now where do I go from here? I was thinking about retiring, and I was like, do I want to do this? Do I want to, and then you get those, you're sleeping in the middle of the night and you're like, wake up in the morning, or wake up in the middle of the night like, I'm a professional fighter. I'm like, I can't go out like that. I can't go out like that, right? With a bad performance, right?
Yeah.
And I knew I had more in me. I don't know how much more, but there's definitely a little more in me, especially for this fight. And I spoke to my team, I spoke to Tyler, and we had a game plan. And I said, give me the biggest fight we can get. What can we get? And he said, well, this is Bradley Wilcox is willing to fight you. This is a fight that we want to see happen. And I said, let's do it. Yeah.
Again, looking towards that, the future, the big news everyone is talking about is your fight with undefeated prospect Bradley the Truth Wilcox. It's for the IBF, not the IBF North American, it's the IBF
International. I think we're trying to get that title as we speak right now. It's not 100% confirmed, but I think that's what the game plan is.
Welterweight?
If I can qualify, welterweight, if I can qualify for it. My rankings didn't change that much from the last fight. I fought a good opponent in Barry, right? Pedro. And so I didn't see any changes in the rankings, which is nice. It just depends if, having that right after a loss, which I feel like I deserve it, but, at the same time, it's up to the sanctioning bodies. But that's what we're striving for right now, currently. We'll see what happens.
Now, the fight's titled Unfinished Business.
Correct.
It's scheduled for February 27th, 2026. So, major showdown, two top Canadian talents. It's at the CAA Centre in Brampton, right?
Yeah.
He's a perfect 14-0. What's your message to Wilcox?
Me and Bradley go way back. I know the whole entire Wilcox family. Everybody does, right? 5 champions, right? You know what I mean? How could you not?
Yeah, fighting family.
Fighting family, right?
Yeah.
And me and Bradley fought in the amateurs. He beat me once, I beat him once. So that's kind of the whole unfinished business.
Sure.
We were supposed to fight at 140 pounds back after the Hellman fight. I think Bradley had a hand injury, and I was assuming during that time, I didn't think he was going to be able to make the weight. So, and obviously moving up to 147 is, that's reinforced that. So that fight wasn't going to happen. But then after, a loss, because I had a change of direction after losing to Pedro. It was kind of, we were going to win that fight and then move on possibly to something pretty big or an international fight overseas or something. That was the game plan. So that kind of put a halt into everything. Right? So I didn't know where I was going after that. The fight was offered to me at 147. I don't think Bradley, in my opinion, I don't think he's a huge 147. I know he's very strong. I just don't think he's a big 147. And I think I can win the fight. Right? So I think I wouldn't be taking it if I didn't. So I think stylistically things work a little bit better for me, and I'm going to be going in there to win. Bradley's a hell of a fighter. He's strong. He can punch hard. He's aggressive. He's got 100+ amateur fights as well. The experience is there. But at the end of the day, I do believe in my abilities, and I think size doesn't always play a big factor. Right?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to get to. Is there anything that you're working on specifically to help nullify Wilcox as he's on an undefeated run right now?
For sure. And he has momentum, and it's tough to fight a guy with momentum, right?
Yeah, confidence.
Confidence, and just, you know what I mean? Especially after his win, I can't remember his name now. The guy from out west, he just fought him, won his IBF international title.
McNaughton?
Jordan
McNaughton?
Jordan McNaughton. Yeah. Jordan's a good fighter. That's you know what I mean? Tall, rangy.
How tall is he?
I think he's 5'11".
Okay.
Right? So he had a little bit of height on Bradley, and Bradley was able to nullify it. It was a close fight. I didn't watch the entire fight. I watched clips of the fight. But yeah, Bradley's tough. I just stylistically, I think, first of all, I have my amateur pedigree and my background when it comes to, as far as Jordan. If we're comparing, like, my amateur pedigree is better, and I feel like in general, I have a lot more experience in the game than Jordan does, and Jordan was able to tighten that gap and keep it close. Bradley still won the fight, but it was a very close fight. Jordan's got a little bit of size, but I'm quick, I'm fast, I'm agile, and like I said, I've been in the game for a long time. So I've seen things. I shouldn't say I've seen everything. Fighters go, I've seen all of it, but I've seen a lot. And Bradley's going to be a tough competitor to beat because of the size and because of the strength. But I think I can use this and win the fight. Yeah.
Final question for you, Mark. After a 17-year journey in the sport.
Yeah. So now what are we now? Well, I'm going to be 20 years with Jack.
Oh wow!
In November.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this November. Yeah, if it was this November, if I keep on going, this year it'd be 20 years.
Okay, 2 decades.
With Jack. Yeah.
So now this title opportunity, potential title opportunity next month is huge.
Yes.
So, what does winning this IBF regional belt mean for the next chapter of Marvellous Mark Smithers' career?
So I'm going to be retiring after this fight.
Oh.
Yeah. So I haven't. We've talked to the team and the coaches, win or lose. Obviously, I plan on winning the fight. You know, this is boxing. Anything can happen. But it doesn't matter what happens. I'm retiring after this fight. So
you're going on with a bang.
Going out with a bang, and that's why I wanted
to guns blazing.
Yeah. And it's even winning a massive. We get the IBF International title. I think it's a top 15 world ranking title. It's a major championship. It doesn't matter. I'm winning. I think somebody'd have to come up with a whole lot of money in order to get me out of retirement. I wanted to compete with the best, and Bradley right now in the country is the best. He's got the belt at least. I mean, there's some other high level welterweights in the country as well, but he's got the title. Like you said, it's unfinished business. We're promoting it as that. We're 1-1 in the amateurs, and I think it just makes sense. We have the same promoter. It makes sense.
In-house,
right? In-house. He has got a massive fan base. I got a massive fan base, and it just makes sense, right? And I'm not going out easy, that's for sure, right? So I just wanted to showcase my talent one last time and know that I was better than what my last performance said, right? And I think coming February 27th, it's gonna be a hell of a night. Let's put it that way, right? It's gonna be a lot of fireworks. We have some other amazing talent on the card as well. We got Sarah Bailey. We got Josh Lupia, who's up and coming. He's fantastic super lightweight.
Niagara Falls boy, right? Is he from
Yeah. Big, strong, tough. That's the next.
What's his weight?
140.
He's 140. Okay.
Big 140.
Okay.
And I think the United Promotions stable there, it's going to be a great night, and it's already almost sold out. So, which is great, right? So, but come February 27th, I'm going to be making a statement, and I'm going to be going out with a bang. That's for sure.
Well, here's hoping you get the close you need, my man. Thanks for coming on, Mark.
Thanks, Tony. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me,
brother.
Thanks.